requisition for a radiograph, how to read a radiograph, and how to come to a diagnosis with a radiograph. So one by one we will see all of them. So requisition of X-rays, it is a rule of 2 in orthopedics. Like every time you have to order for minimum 2 views which are 90 degrees to each other, like orthogonal views. Sometimes more, sometimes 3, sometimes obliques, sometimes 4, but minimum 2. We have to include 2 joints, that is 1 joint above and 1 joint below. Sometimes you have to take X-rays serially at one time and after some time, after a week or after 3 days, after 4 days, so acute and delayed. And in pediatric cases, sometimes we need to take X-rays of both sides, normal and affected. So about this X-ray, can anybody tell what is it? Gokul? Describe. What is the pathology?
I don't know the side.
It's okay. Go ahead.
AP X-ray of the hand.
Tell me the pathology at least.
There should be 2 views.
Yes, so many people are prompting you. So as you can see, it's not very clear. So you should
Other X-ray.
you should order for other X-ray. So what? This was actually our emergency department. Some of my junior residents said that is subluxation of a first MCP joint. Then I said, please look at the other X-ray or clinically also you can make out. That is far more severe than that. It's a capillary dislocation, first MCP. So it is. That's why you should see for the 2 different views. Otherwise, what you can see for a simple subluxation can be a very difficult situation. And particularly in hand, you will always see a situation where you will see that phalanx are sublux. Please take another view and it will be dislocation rather than subluxation. So what is this?
So comminuted shaft femur fracture.
So what should you do about it?
So I want 1 joint above and 1 joint below.
Inadequate X-ray, rightly said. So rather than thinking of nailing and all, you should first do a X-ray of a joint above and a joint below, which can tell you that it is a fracture of a pelvis also, and which you need to think primarily before the femur fracture. Now this is what? New volunteer? Yeah, please get it. You want lateral view, but what can you see in AP view? If you are in an exam, at least you have to describe AP view and then ask for a lateral view, isn't it? Everything is okay, but do you see this?
Lateral swelling है ना?
Soft tissue swelling. So it's a soft tissue swelling. You can make out that on the lateral side there is a huge soft tissue swelling which is going down. And if you see in lateral, what is it now? Can you see some fracture line there? No? Maybe, right?
After 1 week.
You still feel that the line which is seen there may be a fascial line or maybe a fracture line, you don't know. Another hand, so that's right. But basically the lateral condyle humerus fracture in pediatric age group present like this. In AP view you can't see anything, in lateral view you always obvious. What view it is required is 15-degree internal rotation. So there you can see. This is a X-ray which is done after 2 weeks, sorry. And this was a fracture line which is clearly seen. So that is what is the important factor of doing X-rays at 2 times. Okay. So after prescribing the X-ray, we should come to reading of an X-ray. So to read an X-ray, you should see for adequacy whether the both joints are involved or not. Alignment, bones, cartilage. You should talk about bone, cartilage indirectly. Telling about joint space, whether it is increase or decrease. Disc in spine, obviously, and soft tissues, as you saw. One of the always told example about looking at the soft tissue is a fat pad sign. If you draw a line and you see a fat pad sign, and if it is increased like that, you know that even though fracture line is not seen, it's a supracondylar humerus fracture. To report the findings or to present in the exam, you need to tell about mainly first type of X-ray, whether it's a plain radiograph or contrast radiograph like arthrogram or sinogram. Then you need to tell about views which you are seeing, AP, lateral, oblique, whatever it is. Then about the part which are imaged like hip, knee and whatever. And basically you have to tell about the anatomical part and not about the bones. Our HOD insists on that, or many examiners will insist on that. And the age of a skeleton, whether it is a mature or immature skeleton. Then you have to talk about the pathology directly, the site of a pathology, by which I mean in an immature bone, epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis, or whether it is central or whether it is eccentric. Then you have to talk about the matrix changes or medullary changes, then cortical, then periosteal changes, and finally the soft tissue changes. So whenever any X-ray you describe, all these points should come in that sequence, so that you don't miss anything. Okay? So for exam, you will have X-rays in long cases, X-rays in short cases, and X-rays on tables. So X-rays in long cases, mainly hip or spine, you will obviously classify or grade it, and then you will stop. Say, what next? So suppose you take an example of this, and we ask somebody to talk about it. Can somebody talk about taking all the previous headings? Can somebody describe this X-ray? Swapnil? Plain X-ray. Which view? Of? Huh? बोल
The soft tissue shadows appear normal. But
You come to pathology afterwards. What is it? There is a secondary osteoarthritis. Did you see?
Yes, on the left.
You go to that first.
On the left hip side, there is a destruction of the destruction of femur ledge and loss of joint space. There will be sclerosis of the femur leg and the neck with.
You are not telling about the side. Huh? You should mention that you are mentioning about left hip.
Sclerotic and cystic changes in the femur head and the neck.
Sclerotic and cystic changes in the femoral head, loss of joint space. Next.
Upright femoral trochanter's on the left hip as compared to the right.
Yeah, true shortening. Okay.
So there is flattening of the femur lead on the.
Flattening of the femoral head. Okay.
There's a corresponding changes also in the acetabulum.
Okay. What changes are there in acetabulum?
Sclerotic in the sclerotic changes in the superolateral portion of the.
Okay. So what is it?
Secondary osteoarthritis of the hip.
Because of
vascular necrosis of the femur.
Okay. What is the grade of avian?
Grade 4. Ficata grade 4.
So basically that is how you present in the long case, and you stop here, waiting to ask, the examiner sees at you, then ask every question, and then you don't know what to talk next. So you say that this confirms my clinical diagnosis of avian with secondary osteoarthritis and a shortening of so many centimeters, 1, 2, whatever is there. And you don't need further, do you need further X-rays or do you need further MRI, anything?
We need further. So we'll need lateral view, we'll need the further radiological investigation in the form of MRI.
Lateral view for?
So we need to know any, if there are destructive changes in the joint, I need to see any osteophytes in a particular area. If there are destructive changes, I want to see on the anterior and the posterior.
So basically you know that there is superior destruction, superolateral is anterior or posterior. You want to see all the one. Anything else you need to know?
Further investigation with MRI, sir.
Why MRI?
So I want to know the condition of the, since it's avascular necrosis, I want to know the condition of the opposite.
Exactly, that's right. So in a long case, you don't stop saying that yeah, this is a Fica Thailand. But in tables, what X-rays mainly will be of tumors and some of the nutritional disorders like osteoporosis, Malaysia, then scurvy and rickets. So we will talk mainly about tumors in other tables according to this short case. For a short case, we will tell this Nirmal. Describe the X-ray.
So this is a AP and lateral view of the elbow joint with the distal part of the humerus and the proximal part of the forearm of a skeletally immature person. So there is increased soft tissue shadow that I can see on the lateral aspect of the X-ray or the anterior part of the humerus.
So again, he is missing the bus. I told you, you go to the sequence, you won't miss anything. So first it is whether
there is outward, there is varus deformity of
varus deformities in APV
in
and not so much time, Vimal, come on. And the changes of field fracture in the form of sclerosis and what in lateral view?
So there is the distal, there is extension deformity of the distal humerus. The distal humerus side extension.
Probably extension deformity.
Band lateral, not
So sagittal deformity, coronal deformity, and they are the same things which you mentioned in your clinical examination: winding, thickening.
there is thickening of the anterior cortex that can be seen.
So basically, what are the clinical findings you can see in X-ray, and you just have to say that they are there. So these will be anyway covered in your long cases and short cases. But if you stuck like this on a cubitus varus X-ray, then it will be tough job. Right? So, any rotational deformity, can you comment on depending on this both X-rays?
I can't comment.
You can't. Anybody? Because olecranon and capitulum are overlapping on each other. Okay. So you can say that there can be, you can't tell it confirm, yeah, it is a internal rotation deformity, but there appears to be a rotational deformity of internal deformity also. Okay. So these will be the problems in long cases and short cases presentation of X-rays. But now we will come to the table part, which I am supposed to cover actually. So we will come to the tumors mainly. So depending on tumor, you have to tell all about these factors, like what was the plain radiograph or not, what was the size, what was the pathology, medullary changes, cortical changes, and soft tissue changes, everything. Apart from that, you need to know that tumors can be classified mainly on the basis of site, lesion itself, like whether it is lytic or blastic, site, whether it is epiphyseal, metaphyseal or diphyseal. The cortical changes are different, whether this cortex is eroded, scalloped or thickened. Then medullary or matrix changes and the periosteal reaction. Based on all of these criteria, you can tell about the tumor itself, and you have to describe all these criteria as basically describing the X-ray. So coming to the site, as you all know, most of the tumors are metaphyseal. There are only few tumors which are diphyseal and epiphyseal. So epiphyseal tumors being GCT and chondroblastoma mainly. Infections can be there. The diphyseal tumors being Ewing's, advantinoma, fibrous dysplasia, osteoid osteoma, lymphoma and eosinophilic granuloma. So this is the diagrammatic representation showing various tumors in their various sites. As you can see that chondroblastoma and GCT are the only two tumors which are really seen in the epiphyseal area. Majority of them in the metaphysis and few of them in the diaphysis. So if you imagine the chondroblastoma infection is in the epiphysis, ABC, aneurysmal bone cyst, simple bone cyst, osteochondroma, osteosarcoma, enchondroma will be in basically in a metaphysis. Osteoidostoma will be in probably diaphysis. Fibrous dysplasia can extend to diaphysis. Avings do extend mainly is in diaphysis. Non-ossifying fibroma, chondromyxoid fibroma again in metaphysis. Eosinophilic granuloma in diaphysis. So majority of them in metaphysis. Depending on the site, whether the tumor is central in location or eccentric in location. Mainly enchondroma and simple bone cyst are in central location, and aneurysmal bone cyst and GCT are in eccentric location. The cortical tumors are osteoid osteoma, as you know, and the fibrous cortical defect. Parosteal is something which is a growth beyond the periosteum, like parosteal OGS and osteochondroma. So here you can actually summarize them: simple bone cyst, enchondroma, and fibrous dysplasia being in central. The cortical being non-ossifying fibroma, and parosteal fibrous cortical defect and aneurysmal bone cyst. These are eccentric, and giant cell tumor. Lesion mainly it depends on how many lesions are there. Like you can see a single lesion, or there are multiple defined lesion, or there's permeative or throughout pattern. And main nature is lytic or plastic. There's osteolysis or osteoblastic. So this is a simple chart made by Dr. N. Sugaman from Wisconsin, I guess. So he has basically classified all the tumors into below 20, 20 to 40 and above 40. Major three groups. And aggressive and non-aggressive. So in non-aggressive lytic lesions, you can see that you can remember all of them by A, B, C, D, E, F, and probably G in the 20 to 40 age group. So A for aneurysmal bone cyst, B for unicameral bone cyst, C for chondroblastoma, D for fibrous cortical defect or non-ossifying fibroma, E for eosinophilic granuloma, and F for fibrous dysplasia. So all of these are lytic lesions found below 20 years of age, and GCT mainly in 20 to 40. So basically these are the lytic lesions, and the non-aggressive or benign tumors which are blastic are enchondroma, osteoid osteoma, osteoblastoma, osteochondroma. Sometimes bone infarct also. And as you know, aggressive or sarcomas are osteosarcoma, avings, osteomyelitis do look like aving sometimes, even the eosinophilic granuloma in diaphysis, chondrosarcoma and fibrosarcoma. Mainly you will be given Xrays of this category, or some of the avings or osteosarcoma, not many of them. So what are the qualifiers of tumors or lesions in the bone? These are site, lesion, cortical changes, matrix changes, and periosteal reaction, as I said. So cortex. The cortex can be expanded, it can be scalloped, or it can be eroded. So what is the difference between all of them? The expanded cortex will be having same thickness, but the scalloping will be, there will be industrial scalloping where the cortex will be thin, and cortical erosion you will see a breach in continuity. The matrix can be clear matrix, which is found mainly in the bone cyst, and ground glass appearance, which is found in the fibrous tumor, and calcification is mainly seen in the cartilaginous tumor, or sometimes hematogenous tumor also. So clear matrix is like this, where there is a radiolucent area, along with some of the trabeculae. If they are seen, they are still called as a clear matrix. In cartilaginous tumors, you will find calcification of the mineralism. So there are three types of calcification, mainly stippled, flocculent, and ring and arc type. So when you are describing this, these terminologies will be of a great help: punctate or stippled, flocculent, and ring and arc. So these are the examples. These are punctate type of calcification in enchondroma. These are ring and arc type in chondrosarcoma, and these are like flocculent type in chondrosarcoma. A pattern of mineralization of osseous matrix is also defined into a solid, cloud-like, or ivory-like. So this can be a bone island, this can be osteosarcoma, and that can be a bone infarct. Now the zone of transition. After describing the matrix, you have to describe the zone of transition. The zone of transition can be very well defined or ill defined. It is classified by Ludloff in 3 grades, 1, 2, and 3. Geographic, moth-eaten, or permeative. Geography is further divided into 3 types. So geographic distribution is very well-defined lesion with a sclerotic margin. The first B is it is for 1A by Ludlow classification. 1B is a well-defined margin but doesn't have that sclerotic margin which is seen in 1A. The 1C is still a well-defined margin, but the margin, the geographic matlab is an area without a very well-defined, but the zone of transition is not as narrow as it is in 1A or 1B. So, example of a geographic lesion with a sclerotic margin can be a lipoma, where you can see a fibrous wall, intraosseous lipoma. 1B, where you don't find there is a well-defined lesion, but you don't find a fibrous margin, is a myeloma. 1C can be a geographical area, but without a well-defined margin, sometimes an osteosarcoma. The moth-eaten appearance is number of geographical lesions or number of well-defined lesions with a broad or ragged margins. As we can see this again in osteosarcoma or secondary mets. And the permeative pattern of one's is basically a tumor is throughout the bone, intermingled with the bone with a multiple wormholes. This suggests an aggressive malignancy. It can be seen in Ewing's or leukemia and basically indicates malignancy, malignant lesion. So depending on the pattern of bone dissection or zone of transition from geographic to permeative, the tumor goes from less malignant to more malignant. Periosteal reaction. Again, this type of periosteal reaction happens because of the irritation of a periosteum because of the tumor. And the solid periosteum is formed in the benign tumors, where the lamellated periosteal reaction is found in little less aggressive. Spickled is where there is a lot of growth and the calcification offers right angle to the growth, and there is a discontinuous, a Codman's triangle. So again, from solid, lamellated, spicullated to Codman's, it indicates aggressiveness of a tumor. So as I can repeat again, the tumor diagnosis based on the location, whether it is epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis, central, eccentric, depending on appearance of a lesion, whether it is lytic or blastic, how many lesions are there, number of lesions, matrix of the lesion as we have seen, and zone of transition. Periosteal reaction indicates that mainly the tumor is malignant. We are again coming to the same chart. If you remember this chart, I think you can figure out what differentials to be given and what should be told. So start with one by one. Anybody for this? Pascal.
Lateral view, plain X-ray of knee, APL lateral view. There is a skeletally immature.
In a skeletally immature individual.
Is a lytic.
With a lytic lesion seen in metaphysis.
Metaphysis of tibia. With a
clear matrix.
With a geographic transition.
Geographic, permeative and moth-eaten as a zone of transition basically.
Yes.
So basically it's a clear matrix with a well-defined margin.
Geographic.
And whether it's centric or eccentric? Appears centric on AP. Check on lateral.
Centric.
It's eccentric, isn't it?
Yes.
So
And the cortex is
intact, and there is no periosteal reaction and no soft tissue
soft.
swelling. So what is your differential for this?
Simple bone.
Where does it fit into?
Simple bond cyst.
Huh? I told you what it is basically, a benign or malignant?
Benign.
Benign tumor. So what kind of benign tumor in skeletally immature with lytic lesion? What are the possibilities? You enumerate the possibilities.
Bone cyst.
Which are they?
Then simple bond cyst.
And
Aneurysm.
aneurysm. So which one you think it is?
Is simple because not eccentric.
You are not sure. Okay. So as rightly said, AP and lateral view of knee, immature skeleton, metaphyseal, eccentric, lytic, geographical lesion, well-defined non-sclerotic rim, cortex expanded but not breached, and no periosteal action. So it was, aneurysmal bone cyst. Why? We come to it.
Just eccentric.
It is eccentric. That's
Eccentric, that's right.
next.
X-ray, right, proximal humerus.
Yeah, can you be a little louder?
The X-ray showing proximal humerus in skeletally immature person, showing AP view, anteropostal view. It's a lytic lesion in the metaphyseal region of humerus with the cortical break. And there is a fallen fragment sign positive without any periosteal reaction. The matrix is clear.
Matrix is clear.
Centrally placed lesion. Centrally
Pathological fracture is there.
it's a benign lesion, most probably aneurysmal bone cyst.
Aneurysmal
Sorry, simple bone cyst.
Yeah, you're right. The fallen leaf sign is seen in simple
Simple
bone
bone
cyst.
cyst.
There is a pathological fracture also, but as you see that, again, I tell you repeatedly, if you maintain the sequence, it will not be difficult. If you go to fallen leaf sign first, then you will remember that there is matrix, okay, there is a zone of demarcation, okay, then there is a cortex, then there is a periosteum, then there is a soft tissue. So you have to have a clear image in mind that you are going to follow one sequence, then you won't miss anything. Okay. Next. So as you said, it was simple bone cyst and fallen leaf sign.
So this is an X-ray of proximal humerus with the shoulder joint of a skeletally immature individual.
Which view? Difficult to tell.
AP view of adequate exposure showing a
No, he's right. MBBS used to tell that it is adequately exposed, well centralized, plain sky graph of a scaling, but I don't need it in ortho.
like lytic geographic lesion of the proximal metaphyseal region.
Central
With
or
the
eccentric
it's a central lesion
location,
with septation and
trabeculation seen
trabeculation seen,
with a clear matrix.
most with a cortical break on a lateral aspect doubtful.
Okay.
Most probably I'll go with the diagnosis of GC, benign tumor.
GCT always cross the joints. Generally it goes to epiphysis. See, trabeculation are mainly the better seen in simple bone cysts than aneurysmal bone cysts. Plus, you can get it by a central location of a
Central
cyst. So it is
simple bone cyst.
okay. Next. So these are the differences between both of them, as you can see.
APB of immature skeleton.
Not for you. I'll come to the next one because there are two views. I just want to say that this is a central and this is eccentric. That's the main difference between the SBC and ABC. Plus there are some septations which you will see more in SBC than in ABC. Okay, here's for you. Bolo.
Sir, AP view of immature skeleton of knee
Chalo faster, come on.
showing tibial eminence and epiphyseal separation.
Epiphyseal separation. That's what I heard. Okay, pass it on to next. You feel anything else is seen there?
This is
No, not all. I think the next person can answer, which will be better. There is a lytic lesion. Can you see here?
lytic lesion over the epiphysis of tibia,
Epiphysis in the tibia,
centrally located,
centrally located,
well circumcised,
well circumcised.
Well defined, yes.
Well defined zone of transition.
Margin are well defined.
Margins are well defined. Okay, then
And reaching to growth plate.
reaching to growth plate. Okay. So matrix, margin, anything else? Cortex, periosteal, soft tissue, everything is okay.
Yes.
So what is it?
It is chondroblast.
Huh?
Chondroblast.
Chondroblastoma. Why chondroblastoma?
It is
Epiphyseal location, lighting
epiphyseal
lesion.
origin, yes.
And why not GCT?
Because it is a locally aggressive tumor. GCT is locally aggressive tumor.
That's the body. Skeletally mentioned.
So can we give infection as the second differential diagnosis?
Yeah, you can give
Subacute
infection as a
osteomyelitis.
second differential diagnosis. But then again, there will be a periosteal reaction in infection.
So in subacute osteomyelitis, they would give classification of wherein we have
Roddy's abscess, what is that?
Roddy's abscess.
It's metaphyseal in location.
Because in subacute osteomyelitis, we have got a classification in various locations. Sir. One will be in epiphysis. We have got.
We in my clinical practice so far I haven't seen it. So probability theoretically yes, but no, we don't see it that probability. Chalo, next one. गोकुल है? हो गया उसका गोकुल का हो गया. Next. Somebody else.
Plain X-ray, anteroposterior view, right side ankle joint with distal tibia fibula, showing lytic lesion in the eccentric lytic lesion with narrow zone of transition with a clear matrix and thin cortex without any periosteal reaction. In metaphysis of the tibia, most probably non-spring fibroma.
Very good. Or fibrous cortical defect. Only thing what you mentioned is distal end of tibia fibula. Please correct it to the distal end of leg. You please mention anatomical area rather than saying that it is a distal X-ray of distal tibia fibula. So fibrous cortical defect it is, but yeah, non-ossified fibroma can look like that.
Is X-ray of knee showing distal femur, proximal tibia and fibula, showing in anteroposterior view eccentrically placed lytic lesion
In metaphysis.
And in lateral view it is centrally placed.
What is it mean?
With narrow zone of transition.
In one view, if you say it is eccentric.
It's eccentric, sir. Eccentric. The skeletally matured patient. Soft tissue shadow appears to be normal. No periosteal reaction. And clear matrix. Most probably a benign lesion.
Differential.
I'm not sure about that.
Not sure about that. Why? Give differentials. Chondromixoid fibroma. Why? Metaphyseal rotation. Plus eccentric sclerotic margin, then
And the age, it occurs in the mature scrotum.
yeah, actually, it's okay. You can see the little bit of facial of upper end of a fibula. ठीक है. So it is basically non-ossifying fibroma. You said chondromixoid. You can take that differential. Next.
showing lytic lesion of the proximal third at the junction of the proximal third. At the junction of proximal third, middle third tibia, which is
Start again.
X-ray proximal femur with hip joint in a skeletally immature child is showing a lytic lesion at the junction of the proximal third and the middle third of middle third area with centrally located lytic lesion with thinning of the cortex with soft tissue shadow plus X-ray skull is showing multiple lytic lesions plus X-ray spine lateral view is showing vertebra plana suggestive of eosinophilic granuloma or hand-shoulder Christian disease.
Good. That's nice. You told it correctly, but I think you should include everything. Saying ki ill-defined margin and there's a periosteal reaction.
Yes.
Next. Who is by the side? Yeah.
This is the AP view.
AP view.
Showing shoulder joint with proximal humerus. Lytic lesion with well-defined margin. No periosteal reaction. It shows trabeculations. It shows ground glass appearance.
So, what is your differential?
Giant cell tumor, fibrous dysplasia.
Fibrous dysplasia and giant cell tumor. Yeah, it is basically a fibrous dysplasia because of that ground glass appearance, and it's going to be a diaphysis, which usually the GCT won't go. Next.
Sir, X-ray pelvis with both hips and the knee joints showing lytic lesion, multiple lytic lesion in both the shafts of the femur. The entire femoral bone is involved, both the sides, and there is no periosteal reaction. The medullary canal is wider with thin cortices. With a Shepherd Crook deformity.
Shepherd Crook deformity.
Most likely fibrous dysplasia. Polyostotic.
What is Shepherd Crook deformity?
Coxavara.
Sir, bowing of the lateral bowing of the proximal femur.
Yeah, you first said that Coxavara, which is known as a Shepherd's Crook deformity. Polyostotic fibrous dysplasia. Yes, Tirth.
Yes, sir.
Bolo.
Sir, this is a AP view, AP pelvis with both hips, showing in a skeletally mature individual, showing proximal femur. There is a lytic lesion, ground glass appearance, Shepherd.
Coxavara.
Showing Coxavara, and most probably it is fibrous dysplasia.
You're right. Next.
Sir, this is X-ray AP and lateral view of the wrist in a skeletally mature patient showing lytic lesion with clear matrix and well-defined margins, most probably giant cell tumor.
Well-defined margin.
Sorry.
And?
Cortex breach.
Okay. And?
Eccentric in location.
And?
Epiphyseal in...
reaching up to the joint.
Reaching up to the joint. Most probably giant cell tumors.
Good.
So this is a X-ray of knee joint epilateral in a skeletally mature patient, showing lesion in the proximal, in the head of the fibula, showing with clear matrix, lytic lesion with
Lytic expansile
lesion
with a clear matrix.
with clear matrix,
With
thinning of cortex,
Thinning
no
of-
periosteal reaction, no soft tissue swelling is seen. Most probably it is a benign type of giant cell tumors.
epiphyseal location. It's probably giant cell tumor. So
So
describe
this is a plain X-ray AP view of leg showing tibia and fibula with a lytic lesion in the diaphysis of tibia. With a periosteal reaction.
the periosteal reaction.
Notice.
Thickening of a cortex
Yes.
or a periosteal reaction. Or both.
Not sure. So maybe
Yes?
so maybe an osteoidoma.
It's an osteoidoma, just the way you present it in practice. So basically diaphyseal, cortical, plastic with lytic area in the center and cortical hyperostosis, no periosteal reaction, osteoidoma. Next one.
So this is a plain X-ray of cervical spine in lateral view, showing
Something over here. C1. Can't see. So basically there is a lytic lesion in the spine of this C1. You can see there?
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether you can make it out from that distance.
Yes, sir. It's a well-defined margin. Well-defined with
Osteoblastoma. Just let him speak. Bolo.
It's a well-defined lesion with clear matrix.
In spinous process of C1.
Spinous process of C1.
And there is sclerotic rim, hyperostosis, cortex expanded, osteoblastoma, right? Next one. Easier.
This is a plain radiograph, AP view of pelvis showing the left hip. Shows an expansile lesion in the proximal femur with break-in continuity in the bone between the neck at the neck.
Break-in continuity in the neck. There's no break-in continuity in the neck.
There's a lesion on the medial side above the LT with clear matrix.
There's a lesion.
There's a lesion. Exostosis probably.
Yeah, but you have to still describe it.
Irregular lesion just above the LT on the medial side, extending from the neck to the LT. Matrix is clear. Suggestive of exostosis.
Sir, why not heterotrophic ossification?
Yeah, why not heterotrophic ossification?
No, heterotrophic ossification should be along a muscle or it won't be attached to the bone completely.
Something more important than that. Medullary continuity. Medullary continuity is what should look like.
Sessile type of osteochondroma. You can
And
see.
matrix is not clear in this. This is not a clear matrix.
Matrix is not clear. Clear matrix is basically found in a lytic lesion. This is a plastic lesion. So there's a bony overgrowth. Again, next one.
X-ray of
left knee joint of a plain radiograph of left knee with upper part of leg, AP and lateral views with
Skeletally immature.
skeletally immature skeleton with showing bony outgrowth in the lateral and the posterior aspect of the tibia. In the metaphyseal region.
With the medullary continuity.
In medullary continuity, again osteochondrome of the proximal tibia.
Next one. Sessile type of.
Sessile type.
Next. Who is there next?
X-ray of
the patient is different.
plain X-ray of proximal humerus AP view showing pedunculated in a skeletally immature patient, showing pedunculated growth on the lateral aspect. And with the proximal soft tissue.
Yeah, there is a soft tissue. Then
expanded cortex. Exostosis.
Exostosis, pedunculated. We'll just change the laptop. There will be just for 5 minutes.
A plain X-ray of a distal femur of skeletally mature person.
Plain X-ray.
AP view of skeletally mature person. There is a multiple punctuate calcification seen in the metaphysis, diaphyseal junction.
There is a multiple
punctuate calcification
seen in metaphysis.
There is no periosteal reaction.
There is no periosteal reaction. There is no soft tissue swelling.
No soft tissue swelling. So mostly incontrollable.
Good. Yeah. Who will take this?
Plain X-ray, AP and oblique view of hand. Pathology in the ring finger, middle phalanx, showing scalloping of volar aspect of middle phalanx with soft tissue.
Middle phalanx or proximal phalanx? You want to say? This is what you want to say, right?
Yes, sir. Here proximal middle aspect I'm seeing.
You are saying about this, okay. Take it.
With soft tissue swelling.
Soft tissue swelling.
Yes, no periosteal.
In probably all fingers.
Yes. It's multiple swelling, yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned that it's soft tissue swelling seen in almost all fingers.
Yes.
Then
no periosteal reaction, no other things.
no periosteal reaction. What it can be, I can look at.
No other thing.
Mature skeleton, more of a soft tissue swelling than bony changes. Only scalloping is there.
Inchondroma. Sorry.
Clinically, I will show you some photographs. Joints are free. There is swelling of fingers. There is pigmentation of skin. The swelling is soft in consistency, and there is tenderness present. Movements of the fingers are normal.
Hemangioma.
Hemangioma. Next.
Plain X-ray of knee joint with distal femur, skeletally.
Plain X-ray of knee joint with a distal femur.
Skeletally immature, in the sense it is an adolescent, almost closed. The lesion is in the shaft of the femur. the periosteal, there is periosteal elevation, the soft tissue swelling with
Tissue swelling.
periosteal reaction.
Which type of periosteal reaction we talked about?
Laminated type of periosteal reaction. I'd like to get another X-ray lateral view.
Sorry, you don't have it. You can give it differentials.
Most
From here to here, always.
Diaphyseal tumor, most probably Ewing's.
The second closest differential will be?
Osteomyelitis.
Osteomyelitis.
This is a lateral view of tibia and fibula in a skeletal mature person, showing multiple lytic and sclerotic lesions all over the tibia.
All over the tibia or diaphysis of the tibia? Almost all over.
Almost all over the tibia. So my radiological provisional diagnosis is infection, osteomyelitis of the tibia.
Yeah, I can take that. Basically, adamant. Okay. Next.
Plain X-ray of AP and lateral view of knee, showing proximal tibia and femur, distal femur. There is diaphyseal and metaphyseal. On metaphyseal region, there is Codman's triangle.
Where is the Codman's triangle? Show us the Codman's triangle. All of it.
Sundry appearance of osteosarcoma.
Sundry appearance of osteosarcoma.
Parosteal.
Parosteal.
Periosteal.
Periosteal.
Parosteal.
What is the difference between periosteal and parosteal? Periosteal is something along the periosteal. Parosteal is beyond periosteal, mainly in the soft tissue. So yeah, this is a parosteal OGS, osteogenic sarcoma. But the way you present or the way you describe, I think you can give one more try.
AP lateral view of knee with showing distal femur and proximal tibia. And
with the posterolateral growth, osteoblastic, irregular, ill-defined margin, periosteal reaction, sunburst appearance, malignant in nature, probably osteosarcoma, probably parosteal. So go like that. Don't jump on sunburst appearance, don't jump on Codman's triangle and then describe that. Next.
This is a plain X-ray AP and lateral view of thigh. There is lytic lesion in the diaphysis.
You want that pointer?
With the
what can you see there? It is a plain X-ray of a
thigh. With
AP view,
AP and lateral view. There is
in a skeletally
mature patient. There is the lytic area over the lateral aspect and the anterior aspect of the
lytic area over the anterior and probably lateral aspect of
the diaphysis
a diaphysis with
periosteal reaction.
With a periosteal reaction. It's a lytic or it is not lytic? Blastic. Lytic? Because there's some bone which you can see in soft tissue rather than you can see some lysis in bone, isn't it?
There is thinning of cortex anteriorly.
Thinning of cortex anteriorly, so it's scalloping. Difficult to say. Differentials. Lymphoma. Who said lymphoma? Why it is lymphoma?
Sir, diaphyseal reaction and diaphyseal site and aggressive periosteal reaction.
Aggressive periosteal reaction and diaphyseal site, but the low, whether it is such an eccentric tumor, lymphoma, or whether it is a permittive and pan-diaphyseal.
Boundaries of the lesion are not clearly seen, sir.
I'm sorry?
The boundaries of the lesion are not clearly seen, sir.
I understand, I completely agree. There is a ill-defined margin and zone of transition is a broad. So it is something should be malignant, that's what you want to say. But lymphoma, does it go on a surface of a bone? Like this? So what you're seeing is beyond, there is this on the surface of a bone and not much of activity inside the medullary cavity, isn't it? Lymphoma, I would expect more of a permeative lesion in the medullary cavity than on the periosteal nature. But one thing is rightly said, yeah, it is ill-defined margins are there and it looks like aggressive type of tumor. Any other guess? Periosteal osteosarcoma. I particularly club them in line so that you know what is the difference and you know how they differ. Next.
X-ray knee showing distal femur and proximal tibia AP view with a blastic lesion, epiphyseal metaphyseal lesion.
Blastic lesion? This is blastic?
Lytic lesion.
Lytic lesion, okay. In a metaphysis, which is eccentric.
Eccentric.
Okay. So, machoskeleton, GC2.
GC2.
Anybody else? Anything else you see? Anything else?
Periosteal reaction is there.
Periosteal reaction. Is it seen in GCT? It can be. Who says it can be?
Osteomyelitis.
Osteomyelitis. Okay. I can take that diagnosis. Anything else? Osteosarcoma. Why do you say osteosarcoma? Cordmal triangle is seen. So this is an aggressive kind of periosteal reaction. Periosteal reaction is not solid, it's not lamellar, it's aggressive and it's a discontinuous. You can see it from both the ends, but inside it's not there. Remember lamellar, Codman. So basically there is a discontinuation of a periosteal reaction in the center, where both of the sides is there. So the tumor is so aggressive that there is no, it's breached and went in the soft tissue. So it's an aggressive type of tumor. That's right. So it's osteosarcoma. But which osteosarcoma has this lytic lesion? Telangiectatic. Right.
So this is a plain X-ray showing distal end of femur, AP view, in a skeletally mature patient.
In a skeletally mature patient. With the pathology of?
There is areas of lysis and sclerosis.
Right. There are some areas of lysis and there are some areas of sclerosis and there are some areas of calcification.
The periosteum, the cortex is thickened a bit.
Cortex is thickened and
it extends from the metaphysis to the diaphysis.
almost into diaphysis.
Looks like some permeative pattern, maybe.
Permeative type of mass. So ill-defined margin.
Yes, so the margins are ill-defined.
Ill-defined, like a permeative type, what you said. Then there is a calcification, there is a lysis, there is a sclerosis. There is a periosteal reaction all throughout. You can see it. Even though it is not like a
Osteosarcoma.
sunburst or probably lamellar. What kind of periosteal reaction is this? You can see scalloping of a cortex over here.
Yes, sir.
Or erosion. Is it a scalloping or is it erosion? Erosion of a cortex. So what can it be? Definitely a malignant tumor. You're sure about that?
Yes, sir.
So which malignant tumor will have a calcification in its matrix?
Chondrosarcoma.
That's nice. It's not that difficult, dude. Next.
This is X-ray of a
plain
X-ray of pelvis with both hips of a skeletally mature person.
Of a skeletally mature patient showing
osteoblastic lesion in
calcified
lesion in left ilium
iliac fossa
with ill-defined margins.
With ill-defined margins. Everybody feels that ill-defined?
Irregular.
Any difference of opinion? What do you feel again? Is it ill-defined or well-defined?
Irregular kind of.
Part of it is well-defined, part of it is not. Okay. Then? Ill-defined. Again? Where's the person?
No. Sir. No periosteal reaction.
No periosteal reaction. What is the this type? So it is malignant or benign tumor?
Malignant, looks like malignant.
Why you say that it looks like a malignant tumor?
Sir, margins are ill-defined, I think.
Margins are ill-defined. So which kind of tumor it is? Chondrosarcoma, because of the calcification.
So it's a plain radiograph of shoulders of a mature skeleton showing
AP view.
Anterior posterior view of lytic lesion throughout the diaphysis extending into metaphysis, and there is a breach in the cortex at the middle third of femur. Middle third.
Permeative type with a very well ill-defined margin.
Yes. Ill-defined margins and cortical thinning is there, sir, and multiple.
This is permeative. This is moth-eaten.
Moth-eaten.
What is the difference between moth-eaten and permeative type? Yes?
Permeative is more destructive and.
No, that is what it is, but how will you identify it? It is permeative, it is moth-eaten.
So beyond cortex extension.
Moth-eaten is like moth-eaten. You can still find a normal bone in between. There will be multiple areas which are lytic, and then you will find a zone of demarcation. Permeative is like you will find that the whole of the bone is mixed with the lytic and the bone. So there are still a normal area, there are still no normal areas there. Yes? Is it permitted or is it moth eaten?
Permitted.
Okay. So what is it? What it can be?
Leukemia.
Give differentials.
Multiple myeloma.
Multiple myeloma. Okay. Another?
Metastatic lesions.
Lymphoma. Metastasis. Exactly. When you see a pattern which is like extending throughout moth-eaten type, it can be multiple myeloma, lymphoma, leukemia, or even mets. Easy. Who is describing this one? Plain X-ray, plain radiograph of a.
ये दीपिका पिंटू है क्या? तेरे बैच के ना? ये इधर है क्या आपको तो? नाम ही याद नहीं आ रहा.
Widening of a metaphysis, then it's okay, you don't decide, it's the same thing, I think. Good. So basically widening, irregularity, cupping, splaying and fraying. Yes, next. Irregularities, splaying is widening. Splay and fraying is irregularity of the metaphyseal growth. Facial border, growth plate side, then anything else? Anybody? Scurvy. What do you see in scurvy? Pelican spur I had. Who said pelican spur? So what do you see pelican spur here? What is pelican spur? What else you see in scurvy? Wimberger lesion. So is this a Wimberger lesion? The epiphysis looks quite nicely radiopaque, isn't it? There is no radiolucency of the epiphysis. Healing rickets, that's right. So this is a healing rickets where you can now see the mineralization of the growth plate is on. This is scurvy. So scurvy, what are the features? As everybody said, there is a generalized decrease in the bone density of metaphyseal zone, calcified cartilage occurring due to delayed conversion of bone. Can you show me where it is? Then ring size or Wimberger sign, as somebody said, there is a epiphysis which is radiolucent epiphysis and a dark or radio opaque margin showing the Wimberger sign. What is corner sign of pelican spur? Basically they are the bone spurs which are at the growing physis, which are right angle to the shaft. Next. Shoulder joint, AP view in a skeletally. Patient showing
lateral part of scapula.
Scapula pathology?
Part of clavicle and upper part of humerus.
Tell what is the pathology?
This is a fractured dislocation of upper part of humerus from anatomical.
Dislocation?
Epiphyseal fracture of.
Epiphyseal fracture.
Physeal separation of.
Physeal separation.
Upper part of humerus.
Which is classified as type, Salter Harris type 2?
Type 1.
Who says type 1 and who says type 2? Type 1? Yeah, it's type 1. This one? Salter iris? Type 2. With a? Which sign? First and honor sign. This one? 3 comes after 2, but this is 4. This one? 4. And this one?
3. 3.
3?
3.
5? Why 5? 3. Or would you like some different view also? Now what type it is? 4 or 2? There is a metaphyseal weak, isn't it? It can be classified as type 4, but still, it's a triplane fracture. Anybody knows about triplane fracture?
In coronal and sagittal planes, they have 2. It's Salter has type 2 in coronal plane and Salter has type 4 in sagittal plane. And
other way around.
I think it's
okay. But what it is?
It's basically a fracture in coronal and sagittal planes both, and at the level of physis also.
And the third plane is missing.
Third plane is the transverse plane, the physeal plane.
Right. So there is a fracture in the epiphysis which is in a sagittal direction. Then there is an axial split of a physis. And then there is a coronal fracture at the metaphysis. So it is important that we don't miss this. Somebody? Who's next?
Graph of knee joint, anteroposterior view.
What is this? Hemato. Open fracture. Basically, whenever there is an open fracture, when you see a radiolucent shadows like this, you have to understand that this is an open fracture. Easy one. Next. Just tell me the pathology. What is the pathology?
Osteomyelitis.
Osteomyelitis seen in the diaphyseal region with
Sequestrum.
Large sequestrum seen and
surrounded
by
involucrum.
And there is a lot of periosteal reaction. You can expect the type of sequestrum and other questions to go like that. Last one.
This is an X-ray of ankle joint, left side, with fusion of the ankle and
ankle and
subtalar joint. To be fused ankle and subtalar joint.
With trabecular crossing across the joint. So indicates a bony ankylosis.
Yeah.
Which condition it can be in?
Any septic condition.
Septic arthritis.
Any sequelae of
or
septic sequelae.